Firstly, I want to go through everything discovered in the 7th PV. As you may already know, something is very wrong with Keep Votos in this PV. For example, the halo in the sky is backwards. Normally this halo goes from the left, but here it goes from the right. Not only that, but the GSC president seems completely different. Her hair and eyes are completely different from normal, and she's actually here instead of being who knows where. Koyuki literally can't win any luck-based games. It's told in every single story she's in. Her winning here is genuinely impossible without something being seriously wrong. Makoto is extremely soft for Ibuki. Her glaring at Ibuki would normally never ever happen. I originally thought this could be a separate world entirely, however, K has a body, meaning that this takes place after the events of Decagrammaton, and both Shiroko and Shiroko Terra are present, so this could only be the main, universe of Kivotos. Next we can see that the General Student Council has a new logo. Also we can see her look back at us very suspiciously, which seems to mean she may have some malicious intent. Either way, she seems to be evil and not to be trusted. The sign on this billboard states, "The world we perceive is but a shadow," which is extremely weird. We also saw this TV character watching through his own TVs. He seems to be associated with Gematria being an adult in black clothes, so him having the ability to see people isn't out of the question. Now let's move on to the really interesting stuff. At the very beginning of the PV, we see Rin wake up in a waterland. This area is exactly the same as inside the Shidam chest, where Arona and Fauna live. Could Rin be inside the Shidam chest? We also see Rin realize something and the facade disappear around her. It's like she realized that the world she perceives is but a shadow, and because of that it completely disappeared. Even the bus has lost all color and people. Finally, the almonds. Here we see a watch with Jer 111 on it. This is a direct call out to the Bible in the book of Jeremiah chapter 1:11. It states, "The word of the Lord came to me. What do you see, Jeremiah?" "I see the branch of an almond tree," I replied. This entire book is extremely interesting and could be important for the upcoming Blue Archive story, so I highly recommend reading it. Anyway, at the end of the PV, we see this pink leaf on Arona's desk inside the Shidam chest. Considering the Bible quote, this appears to be the leaf of an almond tree. Immediately after, Arona and Plana head to this large pink tree, which is probably an almond tree. Plana's eyes widen, but it looks fearful. This beautiful pink almond tree seems almost scary to Plana. Why do her eyes widen like this? Plana has seen the way the world ends, and her being suspicious, if not showing some recognition and fear in this almond tree, is extremely strange to me, and I could see almonds in general being the end of the world, or possibly something just horrible happening in general. The first interesting thing we see in this prologue is this giant string of hex bytes. It translates to, "This is a false world," repeated over and over. However, the last repetition cuts off after false. This seems to directly coincide with the billboard statement of, "The world we perceive is but a shadow." Clearly someone or something wants us to know that this world is fake. Next we see color appear in many different languages. Since color seemed to disappear when Rin realized something, color deprivation may be important. After this, it quotes Plato. "To them I said the truth would be literally nothing but the shadows of the images." This quote comes from Plato's Republic. In this story, someone leaves a prison and sees the sun for the first time. Meeting the sun is painful and disorienting at first, but eventually he understands that what he previously thought was everything was only shadows of the truth. If he returns to the cave to free the others, they resist and may even try to kill him because the truth is too disruptive of their familiar world. What this may mean for Blue Archive is that when Rin and Sensei realize that the world they are in is fake and try to bring truth to others, they may be persecuted and possibly sentenced to death by those they wanted to save. We also see this strange media image. The Japanese below it is a definition of media. Things or devices used for the recording, transmission, storage, etc. of information. This is most likely supposed to define something important to the TV head guy. He seems to love television, which is a form of media. He also appears on a billboard, which is another form of media. This guy definitely loves media, and it is likely a significant theme of his character. Finally, we see this red German text. "Attention, all tourists and non-technical looky-loos. This computer machine is not for finger poking and meddling around." Clearly someone doesn't want us to mess around with their computer. This is an early hacker joke that was also used to keep people from messing with and breaking computers. The full quote is actually, "Attention, all tourists and non-technical looky-loos. The computer machine is not for the finger poking and mitt grabbing. It is easy to snap the springworks, blow fuses, and pop corks with pointed sparks. It is not working for dumbheads. The rubbernecking sightseers must keep the cotton-picking hands in the pockets, so relax and watch the blinkin' lights. The relax and watch the lights at the end seems to be telling people to just enjoy the show and not question or mess with the complex parts. There's also this very creepy image of eyes watching a student. This media guy is starting to seem very, very creepy. From this, we can gather that someone wants us to know that this is a false world. They're essentially threatening us with harm if we mess with it through the Plato quote, and they want us to just sit back and watch the fun. He's watching. In the next few episodes of the prologue, we learn about a lot more. First, we see this grayed out picture of the original GSC president. This is likely the same place that Rin sees in the PV when she breaks free from the world, and is what the color image meant in the first episode. We also see Sensei wake up and find the same watch as the PV. This watch is actually the staff of Shaked. Shaked in Hebrew means almond, however it can also mean to watch or be on the lookout, and they decided to use a watch for something that's related to watching. So Sensei now has this watch of almond or watch of watching, and in the PV, Plana is almost terrified when she sees the almond tree appear in the Shidam chest. This means that there is a tree related to spying inside of the Shidam chest. It's no wonder why Plana is so scared of it. She's seen the end of the world in her original version of Kivotos after all. A spring day full of almond blossoms is the title of this chapter. Almonds seem to be everywhere this update. Here we meet Kaya, who tells us that the staff of Shaked is actually capable of discerning the truth, so that implies that the branch of the almond tree that Jeremiah sees must be the truth. Afterwards, Sensei actually finds the watch with Rin, and the crest on the box is the exact same as the fake GSC president in the PV. The box also says, "That which brought you out of heaven," which is extremely suspicious to say the least. Finally, Arona and Plana want to connect the staff of Shaked to the Shidam chest. In doing so, the entire world inside the Shidam chest loses color, which is exactly like the GSC president's photo, and exactly like Rin's circumstance, and the same as the bus with no one in it in the original PV. And then after that, Arona clung to the core of the Shaked, and it was an almond. The nameless priests here directly call out the end of all false worlds. We can only assume that they are unhappy with Gematria if Gematria is the one behind instating this false president or false world. This is also the first mention of the staff of Shaked, if I remember correctly. All in all, even without starting the first volume, there is an incredible amount we can learn from this prologue and PV. Almonds, color, false worlds, Shaked, media, all of it will be important in the coming days. But hey, that's just my interpretation. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Until next time.